Copyright University of Auckland, all rights reserved. The content and delivery of lectures in this course are protected by copyright. Material belonging to others may have been used in these lectures and copied by and solely for the educational purposes of the university under license. You may record the lectures for the purposes of private study or research, but you may not sell, alter, or further reproduce or distribute any part of these lectures to any other person. Failure to comply with the terms of this warning may expose you to legal action for copyright infringement by the copyright owner and/or disciplinary action by the university.
Thank you. We're going to get started now. It took a little while to get your attention. So, my name's Esther. I look after the ACE RMO recruitment process nationally. Just in terms of what will happen today, you'll spend about half an hour in here. 20 minutes of that will be with ACE. Roughly, I'll talk for about 10 minutes and 10 minutes will be left open for questions. Feel welcome to ask questions at any point, but just an FYI that we are filming the audio. So if you've got a question, throw your hand up and Steph will run a mic up to you so that we can pick up your question. After that first 20 minutes, there's 10 minutes left for the NZMA rep and the NZMSA rep to spend about 10 minutes with you. And from about 5:30, you'll all head back outside to speak to the DHBs. There'll be juice and water out there. And from 6:30, food will be brought out and we'll wrap up at around about 7. So are there any 5th years here today? Yep. Oh, quite a few of you. Welcome. So before I get started, just a quick reminder, it's a really good idea to like ACE RMO on Facebook. So I do post updates, reminders, changes to process, anything I can think of. That does go up on that Facebook page throughout the application process. Now, can everyone hear me clearly? Great. Now, I'm hoping that you've all already registered for your application, and so you've seen that we've got a brand new website. We've got a new URL, so to clarify, there's no www, it is just rmo.acenz.net.nz, and our new email is rmo@acenz.net.nz. And before I continue, we are now mobile friendly, so you can do more on your phone now than you've ever been able to do before. So you can register your application, check the status of your application, check if a reference has come in, send a reference request, all of that can be done from your phone. You won't be able to upload documents to your application, and your referees may struggle to complete that reference on the phone just because the reference form is too wide to be comfortably seen on a handheld device. Right, I'll get started. Now, typically ACE would have spent the next half an hour drilling you on the ACE application process, but all of that has now been put in a central place on the ACE website. So all I'm going to take you through today is a very broad outline of the application process. I'll then concentrate more on the match algorithm and how you are matched to a DHB. And then I've put together a few do's and don'ts. Now, I'll leave as much time as possible for questions, but as I mentioned, feel free to throw your hand up at any point. So, in terms of a process overview, you've got 4 months to complete your application. So, applications have already opened. There is no submit button. You just need to get that application to say complete before 12 p.m. on the 10th of June, 12 p.m. being lunchtime. And from there, ACE have 1 week to assess and score all the completed applications. If yours is incomplete, it won't get a look in. Once we've done that, the employers have 3 weeks to review those applications, score and rank them, and submit those ranked applicants back to ACE together with their number of vacancies. And from there, ACE has 2 weeks to complete the national match process. We then will notify both you and the DHBs simultaneously on the 1st of August to let you know the outcome of the match. From the 1st of August, the DHBs can then start that Vulnerable Children Act checking process. Now, I won't go into that now, I will talk you through it later. On a side note, so 1st of August, you hear from ACE the outcome of the match, whether you've been successful or not and who you've been matched to. On the 8th of August, the DHBs have to send their official offer to you. But although they start that VCA checking process on the 1st of August, they don't have to have completed it by the 8th. So they've got right up until the day before you start work to complete that safety checking process. Now, if you are planning to be away and uncontactable around about the 8th of August when you receive that offer, you don't have to, but you can nominate an alternative contact person to accept that offer on your behalf. So if you are going to be on elective, for example, and in a place where you will not be able to print, sign, scan and return your signed offer letter to the DHB, you may want to organise someone else to do that on your behalf. All you'll need to do is download the stat dec form, which is available in the ACE website, fill it out, go together with your alternative contact person to a JP, have it certified, and when that other contact person sends your signed offer back to the DHB, they just send it back together with that stat dec form. Does that make sense? Are there any questions yet? Perfect. So I won't go into any more detail. If you need more detail, it's all there on that ACE website. I'll just briefly take you through that VCA. So the Vulnerable Children Act came into effect on the 1st of July last year, and all it means for you is that every matched applicant now needs to be checked by a DHB and deemed safe to work with children before you can begin work. So not a lot has changed. So the requirements are we need 2 forms of ID and a criminal declaration. That's already done and dusted as part of your ACE application. We then need you to complete the police vetting form and prove that you've got professional membership with the MCNZ. No different to how it used to be. What has changed is that the DHBs will now interview, whether via phone or in person, or any other communication method. They will review your references, so there are 2 VCA-related questions built into that ACE reference form now, and they will perform a risk assessment. Once they're satisfied, tick, you're safe to work with children, and they can continue the process, and away you go, start work on your start date. Now, those VCA checks are valid for 3 years, and they are transferable between the DHBs. I'm aware that you may have already performed that VCA checking process as part of your TI year. It is not transferable from there to your first PGY1 job, simply because you are not currently employed, so you will have to go through the process again. Does that all make sense? Great. So we'll get on to the better stuff, how the match algorithm works. So the match process effectively comes in 2 parts, 2 phases. The first is the electronic part of the match. So what I end up with is a list of the DHBs that you want to work at in your preference order, and a list of the applicants the DHBs most want to employ in their preference order. And I know the number of vacancies at each DHB. I audit all of that information before I run the match. I then run the electronic match and audit all the match results to ensure that every single person has been matched where they should have been matched. From there, I will go on to phase 2, but only if it's required. So if there are still unmatched applicants and I still have vacant positions, I may go on to the manual match part of the process. Now that part, I may contact you if you are unmatched and say there are still vacancies, do you want to expand your preference list of DHBs? And I will go to the DHBs and say, do you want to rank any additional applicants? I'll then run the manual match, and I will still strictly follow the algorithm rules. So the manual match works exactly the same way the electronic match does. Now, what those rules are, there's only 3 and they run in priority order. So the top priority of the algorithm is that it wants to match you to your highest preferred DHB wherever possible. Second to that is it wants to match the highest ranked applicants for the DHB. And at all times it makes sure that you are only matched to 1 place. So you cannot get 2 offers, you are just getting the 1 match. So in a little more detail, the matching process starts by looking at all Category 1 applicants. So all applicants who are New Zealand grads and who are New Zealand or Australian permanent residents or citizens. It picks a DHB, any DHB, and it will start at the top of their list of ranked applicants, and working its way down, match all and any Category 1 applicants who had preferenced that DHB first. Once it's done the first DHB, it moves on to the next DHB and does the exact same, matches Category 1 applicants who had preferenced that DHB first. Now, because you can only preference 1 DHB as your highest preferred, it doesn't matter which DHB the algorithm starts with, it just runs through all 20. So once we've run through all 20 DHBs, all Category 1 applicants who have matched those DHBs first, we then go back to the first DHB, say Auckland, and we start at the top again, and we match all Category 1 applicants who had preferenced Auckland second. Now, as soon as you are matched, your name comes off any other ranked list. So say you had put Auckland first and Auckland have ranked you, you're matched to Auckland. Say counties in Waitemata had also ranked you, your name will come off their list to make sure that you are not matched to more than one place. Does that make sense? Okay, so once I've run through that whole process, I continue right through until your 20th preference and all 20 DHBs. So I run through until either I run out of Category 1 applicants or I run out of vacancies. If I still have unmatched Category 1 applicants and I have available positions, I will move to phase 2 of the match, the manual match part. I'll call you, do you want to rank more DHBs? I'll call the DHBs, do you want to rank more applicants, perform the manual match. I will then move on and do that exact same 2-phase process for Category 2s and then Category 3 applicants. Does that make sense? Any questions? Oh, okay. All right. So I'm going to move on to what happens after the match. Oh, before I move on, is there anyone wanting to apply as a pair? So we will accept applications from couples who are wanting to apply to be paired or matched to the same DHB, but before you all rush off and apply with your mates because you want to stick to the same place, there are possible consequences to applying as a pair. So if you are paired, your applications are paired, the algorithm will effectively look at you as one, and it will base your application based on the lowest common denominator. So it will look at the, true, it will take the lowest category of the two. So if you are a Category 1 and your partner is a Category 3, you will both run through the algorithm based on a Category 3. It will also base it on the lowest rank of the two of you. So if you are a stellar applicant, Auckland might have ranked you first, but your partner has been ranked 50th, you will both run through the algorithm based as 50th. And it relies on the DHB having 2 available vacancies by the time it gets to you in the match process. So say Auckland has exactly 50 positions and you are now technically ranked 50 and 51. It will get to number 50 and it will match applicant 52 because it cannot accommodate both of you. So you will both miss out. Does that make sense? Okay, lot to think on. So, once that the 2-phase match process has been done, if you are successful, you will receive your offer from the DHB that you are matched to on the 8th of August. If you are not successful, you will automatically be pulled into that talent pool. That talent pool is just a list of all or any unmatched applicants. It goes out to all 20 DHBs, and they can use that to fill any remaining vacancies or any subsequent vacancies that come up throughout the year. Does that make sense? Now you do have the option to opt out of that talent pool if you wish. You will just need to communicate that to ACE. So if we're sure there's no questions on the match, yeah? Do you want to just wait for the mic?
If a DHB doesn't take paired applicants, is that worked into the algorithm, or does that just mean that if you have a paired application, they just won't rank you?
Option B. But I haven't really heard of that happening. Yeah. Does that make sense? Are there any questions around that? Okay. So, oh, there is? Just really needed to get back to your seat.
Could you confirm the dates in which we might receive a phone call from you as part of the manual match process?
Oh gosh, when is that? Do you know off the top of your head, Denise?
So we should be contacting all applicants. I think it's Friday the 12th of June. And applicants who are requested to preference additional employers will have a week the following Monday. So what's that? 19, 21, 22nd-ish of June. So you've got 10 days-ish to return your ranks if you want to consider more. Yeah.
So there's another question. And ACE will do everything we possibly can to contact you. We're aware that you may be on elective. It's a really good idea for that reason to make sure you have an alternative contact number or another way to get hold of you if you are going to be on elective. Oh, you're welcome. Any other questions about that? Yeah.
Not about this particularly, but can I just go back to the actual applications and references? Yep. So just a clarification. You can hear me, right?
I can, but the audio can't.
I just wanted a bit of clarification. If you're in a first quarter elective, and the ACE website says you can get a reference from the second half of your fifth year, and you can also get a reference from your elective if it's in a comparable health system. Can you get a reference from both of those?
No,
just one.
Pick one. Yeah.
Okay.
So
thank you.
You need 3 references. 2 of them need to be from your TI year, and you can choose the third one to be either from the second half of your fifth year or from your elective, but not both. Just to clarify.
If it's from the second half of your fifth year, can it be from your selective?
I don't see why not.
No, it's in America.
Provided it's a comparable health system.
It is.
Yeah. Happy for me to move on? Right. So, are there other questions? We're just starting to eat into NZMA time, sorry. So, ACE just has a couple of do's and don'ts that I'll finish up with based on things that we've picked up over the last couple of years. So, things we would recommend you do are to read the material provided on the ACE site. It's a lot more succinct than it used to be, much less daunting, and be prepared to move outside the region you currently live in order to secure a job. Speak to the RMO units at the DHBs you're interested in working with, and research the employers you want to work with and reflect that research in your cover letters. We also recommend you write cover letters. They are optional, but they most definitely help. And spell check everything. So those cover letters, your resume, even your application itself, a stat deck if you decide to do one, spell check everything. The DHBs do notice and they do take it into account. And speak to your referees before you send them the reference request. There is nothing worse than a grumpy referee. And triple check that your application status is complete before 12 p.m. on the 10th of June. And feel welcome to send us as much wine and chocolate as you can during assessment week. We will need it. Things we recommend you don't do are leave your application to the last minute. It will take longer than that, and it can be tricky getting hold of referees, so bear that in mind and send those reference requests as early as you can. Don't display an A4 photograph of your face or semi-nude body as the front page of your resume. We also don't like selfies. Not good. Don't list as one of your extracurricular activities that you enjoy being towed through the undergrowth by a hairy beast. We think the applicant meant a dog, but we're not sure. Don't forget to certify your documents. Almost everything needs to be certified, so your residency documents, your degree, you're from Auckland, so not your transcript, any awards, anything that you are attaching to your application effectively needs to be certified, so take it all together at once to the JP, have it signed before you upload it. Don't assume that because a referee tells you they've done the reference, that means it's attached to your application. Something could have gone wrong. Go into your application and physically check that it is there and the status of that reference is complete. Don't address your cover letters and or emails to the wrong DHB. Auckland doesn't want to know why you've got a burning desire to work in the Hawke's Bay. And don't copy and paste from Google your reasons for wanting to work in Auckland. They can tell and they will have seen it before. And don't call ACE to request an extension. And that's all I've got. Are there any other questions? Kat? Carol.
There's I'd call it a rumour going around that the algorithm changed in recent years so that more applicants got their top 3 choices and less got their first choice. Is this true? And how would that work?
No, not true. So I don't have the stats with me, but effectively the stats in terms of how many people are getting matched to their first preferred DHB is continually getting better. The algorithm is very, very good at it. So I think last year about 88% were matched to their first preferred. So it's very good. But no, that it has not changed, and there is no way to have an algorithm that just focuses on getting you into your top 3 preferences. Its main priority is to get you into your first preference, and if it can't do it, it will then move on to your second, and if it can't do that, it will then go on to your third preference. Are there any other questions around that, or shall I pass you on to NZMA? Right, do you want to?
If you'd have this, do you want me to grab your... Thank you, that's all right. Leave you to it.
All right, hi guys, my name's Miriam. I'm the Deputy Chair of the Doctors in Training Council for the New Zealand Medical Association, and I just really briefly want to talk to you about NZMA and why you should all be members. So back in the bad old days, what used to happen was house officers used to send in all these applications to various DHBs, and then they'd heard back from some of them saying that you've got a job, but not from others, and they wouldn't really know whether they wanted to say yes to the first ones that they'd heard from in case they wanted to work in somewhere else. And it used to be a big, huge mess. So with the advocacy work done by NZMA and NZMSA, we managed to get the ACE scheme up and running in 2003. And as a former TI, I can tell you that it's an excellent scheme. It really works well, and it's just a great example of how advocacy is important and that it works. So, what does DITC do? We represent the voice and views of medical students and house officers and registrars, essentially anyone who's not a consultant, and make sure that our opinions and voices are heard when making decisions at the highest levels. Some of the work that we've done recently will be supporting NZMSA on their 7Fs position that a lot of you would have heard about. We're also sitting on a lot of various task forces, including the Health Workforce New Zealand Medical Workforce Task Force, as well as the Bullying Task Force. There's lots of big words, as you can tell, and one of the things that we worked on, particularly last year, is the health and well-being side of things. So we've got a bookmark that you can come and grab from our stand. It says, are you okay? Are you looking after yourself? Do you have a GP? Are you making sure that you're eating your fruits and veggies and getting enough sleep, as well as being a student and doing all your exams and assessments and things? So this is the Doctors in Training Council. I'm based in Auckland, and we've got a stand along with NZMSA in the foyer, so come talk to us. If you've got any questions about NZMA, NZMSA, about being a student, applying for ACE, I've been there, so make sure you can come ask me. I'll give you a very unbiased view. Thank you.
Kia ora, can you hear me? For those of you who don't know me, I'm Briar. I'm here on behalf of NZMSA. Really, I just wanted to thank everyone here for coming, and thank you, ACE, for putting on the evening and also all the other work that you do, which is considerable. So NZMSA's role in all of this is to represent you and help you with the matching process. So from our point of view, we'd like to encourage you to learn as much as you can about the matching system, because it's going to determine your future for at least the next wee while and possibly the rest of your career. So it's pretty important and it's worth putting in the groundwork for. Probably one of the more important things is that first deadline of the 27th of May. So by the 27th of May, you have to have logged on and sent your reference requests. So that's not a deadline that you want to be missing. Another thing is we want to encourage you to get all the information you can about the process. So there's heaps of documents and things that have lots of information. Like Esther was saying, the ACE website, which if you haven't logged on, do it. It's very aesthetically pleasing and easy to navigate. NZMSA is also putting out the Guide to Graduation online in the next couple of weeks, so keep an eye out for that. We'll be posting it on Facebook and also probably through Canvas. There's also Kiwi Health Jobs, which is a website that has a fact sheet on every DHB with lots of useful information like the training schemes they support, an estimate of the number of places each DHB has, that sort of thing. So use tonight as an opportunity to consider where you want to work. Don't leave it to the last minute, and we'd also like to underline that you should accept your matched job offer, because you won't be eligible to be matched again if you decline that offer. So take the one that you're given. Yeah, and I'll be hanging out at the NZMA stall, or if you see me wandering around and you have any questions for NZMSA, feel free to come and say hi. Thanks.